Hey guys, and welcome to Groovy Eats. This is episode 2 of my new cooking show, Groovy Eats, where we cook through the decades of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, pair it with a retro recipe and a retro song, and basically tie it all together into a wonderful memory of that time and that place. Today, we're stepping all the way back into 1972, February. February 1972 was a time of romance, soul, a glamorous decade, and a glamorous time. And what better way to celebrate Valentine's Day than with a retro menu that I'm going to prepare for you guys. Some Steak Diane, chocolate-covered strawberries, and a gorgeous, crisp, creamy green goddess salad. So settle in, pour a glass of wine, and get ready to cook with me to a groovy, soulful time when romance ruled. Hey guys, welcome to Groovy Eats. This is episode 2 of season 1, the 1970s. Groovy Eats is all about going back into time, pairing retro recipes with a retro song from a retro artist from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And today we're going all the way back to February 1972 with a soulful, romantic Valentine's Day dinner. So pour yourself a glass of wine, light a candle, dim the lights, and let's cook together to February 1972, Valentine's Day. Let's talk a little bit more about February 1972 briefly. I talk a lot about it more on my podcast, which is live on the Artful Gourmet podcast, as well as on my blog post and Substack, where I talk a little bit more about the time and the era of 1972. 1972 was a cultural in-between. It didn't have the turbulence of the late 60s anymore, but it wasn't flashy disco era of the late 70s yet either. People were turning inward. Dinner parties were indoors. They had continental, elegant dinner parties, and Valentine's Day was all about soul and romance. So today, like I mentioned, I'm going to be making you a beautiful Valentine's Day dinner. I'm going to be making Steak Diane for you guys today, which is a beautiful retro recipe. Super easy, by the way, too. You can get it done in about 30 minutes. It's got mushrooms and cream and brandy and tarragon, and it's absolutely delicious. I'm also going to be making a crisp, cool, creamy green goddess salad, which is absolutely delicious and very 1972. And to top off the menu and end the evening, we're gonna have a little bit of champagne and some chocolate dipped strawberries. Super easy, super elegant. Everything in the 70s was all about elegance. And like I said, bringing everything home, everything was a little more intimate. And yeah, it wasn't flashy yet like the disco era of 1978. So think table settings like gold and velvet and satin, very romantic and luxurious and elegant. Fashion was the same way. Everything with a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of satin, flowing, Valentino, Halston. Everything was very romantic and elegant. So that's why I wanted to make this menu for you guys. You're gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna actually start out with the chocolate dipped strawberries so that we can get them dipped and prepared and put in the fridge so that by the time we're done with the steak and the salad, they'll be ready to serve with some bubbly, and we'll have an amazing Valentine's Day dinner. So let's talk about the artist, Al Green, one of my favorite soul singers. He was actually a pastor too. I don't know if you knew that, but everyone knows his #1 song, Let's Stay Together. That was actually #1 on the charts on February 12th of 1972, which is what inspired me to make this gorgeous Valentine's Day dinner for you guys, all along with Al Green playing in the background, my favorite song, Let's Stay Together. Al Green came at just the right time. He was soft and romantic, and he had that falsetto voice, and everybody loved listening to him. Soul music actually kind of slowed down a little. You know, after all the turbulence of the late 60s and all the crazy things that were going on in the world, people were turning inward, and they wanted to have a slower pace. Turning inward, eating at home, enjoying an intimate moment together. That's what this Valentine's Day dinner is all about. And Al Green was amazing. He actually wrote the song in 5 minutes. He's originally from Arkansas. I think he started this song with his producer. Again, his producer was pushing him to come up with a song, and he just wasn't getting it. And then he seriously banged the song out in 5 minutes, and it became his #1 song for at least 6 weeks, and it's still remembered to this day. Okay, so let's get started with the chocolate dipped strawberries. Again, this is such a simple, elegant, easy dessert to make, you guys, which is why I wanted to prepare it for you today. Again, it was very elegant. Chocolate-covered strawberries in 1972 were considered very upscale and kind of glamorous and elegant. They weren't even discovered until the late 60s in Chicago, but it was just a simple, elegant way to end a beautiful Valentine's Day dinner. And honestly, it's so easy to make, you guys. So I'm gonna show you how to make it. We're gonna get some strawberries together, some chocolate melted. We're gonna dip them and put them on some paper and put them in the fridge. And then I'm gonna bring them out at the end of the dinner so we can enjoy it with the champagne and our Steak Diane and green goddess salad. So let's get into the chocolate dipped strawberries. As I mentioned earlier, dessert and Valentine's Day in 1972 was elegant and romantic and intimate. Chocolate dipped strawberries had only been actually created about a decade earlier in Chicago, so they were kind of considered very fancy and upscale, and normally you could only find these glossy chocolate strawberries in the candy shops. So it was sort of a really fun thing to do at home, and these are so easy to make, you guys. It's basically chocolate and some strawberries that you want to have super dry because you don't want any water to get into the chocolate or it will seize the chocolate, meaning it'll get lumpy. And then just a little bit of Crisco, maybe a tablespoon. That's something that they did back in the 70s to give it that glossy shine. If you don't have Crisco or don't want to use it, you can always use some coconut oil. And it's really just some beautiful dark chocolate wafers that like Ghirardelli or something that melts and gets really beautiful and silky and glossy. So I'm gonna show you guys how to make it. I have a pot of water that's already been heated. It's not boiling, but it's warm because you wanna have this chocolate melting really slowly with the oil or the Crisco so that it gets real smooth and glossy. You don't want it to burn. So I have this already heated up to sort of a medium simmer. I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit. And I'm gonna show you guys how to make this. So all you do is, like I said, you get a double boiler or put a pot on the stove with a little bit of water. It doesn't have to be boiling and you don't need a lot. You're gonna get a heat-proof bowl, either glass or stainless is fine. And you're gonna put it over the water. And again, make sure the water is not boiling, but simmering a little bit so that it's warm and it's gonna melt that chocolate over maybe 10, 15 minutes. Just keep watching it and stirring it as you go. But all I did was get some Ghirardelli chocolate wafers, dark chocolate, of course, because that's my fave. You could also use chocolate chips. And you can actually do these in the microwave too, but because we're doing retro 1972, we're doing it the old-fashioned way. So I'm gonna just pour these in. And I'm gonna do a tablespoon of Crisco, that's it. I know it sounds horrible, but you guys, it's gonna be so glossy and beautiful when it all melts together. And it's gonna give those strawberries that luscious shine. And it's gonna be so gorgeous with this meal. And we're gonna let this go for a while. So I'm gonna check in with you guys in a minute. I'm gonna let this basically melt, like I said, over a low medium simmer. And you're gonna stir it constantly. Once it's melted, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you guys. All you need to do is get a tray with some wax paper or parchment. Your strawberries, they need to be super dry, like I mentioned, and you're gonna just dip and twirl them in the chocolate, lay them out on your paper, put them in the fridge for maybe 15 minutes to 30 minutes. The longer they're in there, the more the chocolate will set, and they're gonna be gorgeous. And back in the 70s, they also didn't do all the crazy toppings and drizzles and crunchies and all those things. It was pure glossy chocolate and strawberries. Simple, elegant, luxurious, and absolutely delicious. So stay tuned, I'll be right back once the chocolate's melted, and we're gonna make those strawberries, and then I'm gonna show you how to make the green goddess salad, then the Steak Diane, because we want the steak to be hot and juicy and gorgeous, and then we're gonna eat everything together and listen to Al Green, Let's Stay Together. His song was #1 this week in 1972. So this is all a big tribute to him and that song, and we're gonna have a beautiful Valentine's Day together or by yourself or with your loved one. See you soon. Okay, you guys, that took about 5 minutes, not even, literally. So all I did, like I said, is I put the chocolate in here, the chips, the wafers, whatever you're using, a little bit of that Crisco. It's just gonna give it that beautiful, gorgeous shine. And now we're gonna actually work on the strawberries. So I hope you can see it over here. Beautiful, silky. Look at that. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna get this out of the way here. We've got the Crisco out of the way. Let's just put this over here. Okay, so we're gonna turn off the burner. Now we're gonna get working on the strawberries. Okay, so like I said, you have strawberries over here. They're gonna be super dry because, again, you don't wanna have any water in the strawberries or it's gonna make the chocolate lumpy. So I have turned off the boiler and we're gonna start dipping over here. I'm gonna get this out of the way. Okay guys, so I melted the chocolate on the double boiler and it's absolutely gorgeous and silky and glossy and it's beautiful. Look at all that, oh my gosh. So, what I got here is about a pound of strawberries, like I said, about a cup of chocolate, a tablespoon of Crisco, a pan or a tray with some wax paper or parchment, and now we're gonna just dip the strawberries. This is so fun and so easy, you guys. So, I'm just gonna dip them in. I'm gonna swirl them in. I wasn't able to find really long strawberries with the stems, but that's okay, because these are gonna be just as delicious. You're not gonna eat the stem anyway. They're just a little easier to twirl. So I'm just twirling them about once or twice, and then you're gonna let them just go right on the parchment. It's so easy, you guys. Also, bigger strawberries are better, of course, but these are gonna be just as delicious. And then you're gonna just keep doing this until they're all done, and you're gonna put this in the fridge for about 15 minutes, maybe 30. And honestly, you could probably let them go longer because the longer they're in the fridge, the better that they're gonna set. Okay guys, I'm done dipping all the strawberries into the chocolate. And one thing I did do is add a little extra drizzle, but with the same chocolate with a fork. So you're gonna have a little extra left over. You're just gonna take it and kind of just drizzle over the top. But look, they've just been actually sitting out here for 5 minutes, maybe 10. So again, put them in the fridge because you're gonna wanna have them super cold and chilled and crunchy and gorgeous and juicy for our Valentine's Day dinner. Stay tuned because we're doing Green Goddess next. Okay, so first up, like I mentioned, you're gonna have your blender over here. I've got some mayonnaise. It's about a half of a cup. So we're gonna put that in to the blender. You're gonna add your sour cream, about a 1/4 cup. Then we're gonna do, you can do fresh tarragon. I actually couldn't find any, so I'm doing like a teaspoon of dried. And it has this beautiful sort of anise flavor. It's delicious and one of my faves. So we're doing that instead. If you were gonna do fresh tarragon, maybe do like a tablespoon. It's gonna have a lot of other herbs in it too, so it's gonna be delicious. You're gonna do 1 garlic clove. You can mince it up, but you know what? It's all going in the blender, so I'm just gonna pop that right in. Then we've got probably about, I don't know, a handful of chives. And again, you don't really need to chop them all up because it's gonna be whizzed together in the blender. So I'm gonna just kind of cut these down into smaller pieces. And then you're gonna add some parsley. I'm gonna actually just chop the stems off. You can kind of rough chop it a little bit, but again, it's going in the blender. It's all gonna be gorgeous and beautiful. And actually a little bit of parsley stem is fine because it has a really nice, fresh flavor. So we're gonna dump all of that in there. We are going to do, I'm gonna do 1 anchovy. You could do 2 if you want, but that just gives it that little extra punch of umami flavor. So we're gonna put that in there. Again, no need to chop it all up because we are making it into a gorgeous, creamy, cool, chilled, herby dressing. It's gonna be delicious, you guys. And then lastly, I have a small avocado. I just cut it in half. And then probably the easiest way is just cut this. You can pop off the skin, just peel it off right here. And again, you don't even need to chunk this up. You can just put the wedges right in there. And then when I serve it, I'm gonna actually serve it, like I said, over some iceberg wedges. You could do bib lettuce, which was pretty popular back in 1972 as well. Just peel this here. Let's get all that stuff out. Make sure you get the pit out. You just go like this. I'm just cutting around the pit right now, but you can also pop it off. You don't want to eat the pit. Okay, so we've got everything in the blender. Again, sour cream, mayonnaise, fresh herbs. We've got some parsley, some tarragon and chives, a little bit of anchovy. If you'd like, you could also do a little squirt of lemon in here, which would make it a little brighter and fresher too, but I didn't do that today because that wasn't actually in the original recipe in 1972. The garlic, all of it. So we're gonna actually just put this in the blender here and we're gonna puree it. Just scrape down the sides a little bit. And again, you could even add a little bit of like basil, cilantro in here if you want. Make it super green, but it's all about the creaminess. And I forgot to mention, there's a tablespoon of this white wine vinegar as well, which again, you could sub lemon juice because you want a little bit of that acidity and tartness in there. But we're gonna just do one more time. And then we're gonna pop it in the fridge so it's super nice and cold. And I'm gonna show you how to dress the salad. Once the steaks are done, we're gonna get everything ready and we're gonna have a great Valentine's. You guys, look at this gorgeous green color. So Now what I'm gonna do is, like I said, I'm gonna just take this whole thing out. I'm gonna put this whole thing in the fridge. And then later when we have our steak, the strawberries, I'm gonna show you guys how I do the salad. I'm gonna keep it really simple. They used to do either white asparagus, like I said, with the bib lettuce or the iceberg. You could also do a little cherry tomato if you want, some sliced hard-boiled eggs. So I'm gonna just do actually a little bit of cucumber, a little bit of sliced hard-boiled eggs, and we're gonna have this gorgeous, cool, creamy, herby dressing over the crispy iceberg lettuce wedges with our Steak Diane and chocolate dip strawberries. So into the fridge this goes. Stay tuned. Steak Diane is next. Let's get started with Steak Diane. Steak Diane is a French recipe. It's a delicious and easy recipe you guys can make in like 30 minutes. It's basically beef tenderloin, which I have cut into medallions. There's 2 fillets, and you just cut them in half. And basically I just sort of patted them down so that they're about 3/4 of an inch thick, and season them with salt and pepper generously, freshly cracked. You want to get a pan really smoking hot. The sauce is so delicious. It's actually made with mushrooms. There's shallots and garlic. There's cognac, which is flambé tableside, like I mentioned. Because I'm filming, I'm gonna actually just let it simmer off in the pan. But you have some cognac, some Worcestershire sauce, a little Dijon mustard, some veal glacé, butter, shallots, cream, mushrooms. You guys, this is like absolutely delicious and perfect for Valentine's Day. The history of Steak Diane, it was actually developed way earlier, probably in London or New York City. But again, it was popular in the mid-century at fancy steakhouses where they flambéed it right at your table. And the name Diane actually comes from the Greek-Roman goddess, the goddess of the hunt. And a la Diane sauces were typically, back in the day, made for more gamey meats like venison and things like that. But it got really popular in the early to mid 70s. And Steak Diane is what we know today, and it's a super delicious recipe. I'm gonna show you guys how to make it. It's so easy, so good, and you're gonna absolutely love it. So let's get started. Again, the filet mignon, I cut them into medallions. You just take the 2 pieces and cut them in half lengthwise. Pat them down about 3/4 of an inch so that they're a little bit thin. You want the Steak Diane to be kind of medium rare to rare. Because they're thin cuts, they're gonna cook really fast. So basically you're gonna get a pan searing hot, because you're only gonna be cooking these for about a minute per side, not even. Maybe a minute one side and 45 seconds on the next. So I have my pan here heated up already. And what I'm gonna do is do a tablespoon of butter with a tablespoon of oil. You wanna mix the 2 so that the butter does not burn, because actually olive oil will burn on its own too. We wanna get that kind of nice and melted. And like I said, we've got the steaks over here already seasoned. So I'm gonna put those face down. We're gonna cook these for about a minute. It's gonna be nice and smoky in here later. And leave a little bit of room around them so that they're not crowded. And now I'm gonna just season the other side. Generously, of course. And like I said, I've got it on kind of medium high to high, because you want that nice crust. And they're only gonna cook for like a minute and 45 seconds, like I said. So let them cook. See that nice browning? We've already got it. So I'm gonna turn these babies over, because we do not want it overcooked. And I did half dry the steaks too, so there's not too much water, but it's okay because any of the juice and the brown bits, we're gonna make it into a sauce anyway. So let's let that cook another minute. Got some really gorgeous brown color on here and it smells so good already. We haven't even made the sauce. So, like I said, about 2 minutes total, if that. Because you're gonna return to the pan later with the juices and all the good stuff. Okay, I think that's long enough. So I'm gonna transfer these to a plate. Let them rest for a minute. Because they're gonna still cook as they're sitting here. And like I said, you want them kind of a rare, medium rare. Because they're a thin cut. Okay. So now we're gonna lower the heat down to like a medium so that we can cook our aromatics, the shallots and the garlic, and then the mushrooms. And then we're gonna make the sauce into that and put the steaks back in the pan. So we've got this down on a medium heat here. And what I'm gonna do is get the shallots, a little bit of garlic, about 1, maybe 2 cloves. And you don't want that heat too high because the garlic will burn. Just gonna cook those for about a minute or so until they soften. Mix it around in that nice brown juice. And just the heat is needed. You don't want your aromatics to burn. You just want them to get nice and soft. Oh my gosh. My 2 kittens, you guys, Ollie and Skylar, have been jumping up on my counter all day. They're like, meat, give me the meat. Give me anchovies. They're hilarious. I'm like, I gotta get a new studio. Cooking at home, these kittens are all over me. It's kind of funny. They're so cute. Okay, those are pretty good. Now, we're gonna add our mushrooms right in there. And it's about, I don't know, a cup of mushrooms. You could actually leave them out if you want, but I'm just gonna saute these a little bit. We are gonna make a sauce. So you want the mushrooms to cook for a few minutes, maybe 5 or 6 minutes until they get soft. You might wanna add a little more butter or oil if they look a little bit dry. But we're gonna save a little bit of butter for the sauce later too, so don't use all of it. But hey, butter, cream, it's all about the French cooking, right? And actually this is a French-inspired dish, so. And it's Valentine's Day, so why not get a little indulgent, right? Have some butter, cream, steak, chocolate, salad, cream, all of it. All right, so we're gonna let these cook. I'm gonna raise it a little bit. So it's gonna take a minute. Once these are cooked down, we'll be right back, and I'm gonna show you guys how to make the brandy Dijon Worcestershire delicious cream sauce. And we're gonna put the steaks back in and finish them off with the sauce. Okay guys, it's showtime. So because I'm at home and I have cameras and lights and all kinds of equipment around, I am not gonna do the flambé. But you're welcome to do it at home, and it's actually just kind of fun. You just light it with a match and let the alcohol die down once you pour the brandy in. But for safety's sake, I'm gonna skip it today. Now that the mushrooms are cooked, you wanna pour in a 1/4 cup of brandy or cognac. So I'm gonna do that right now. We're gonna let it just simmer down. And all that does is it cooks the alcohol off a little bit. Just let it kind of simmer down a little bit. And I did lower the heat to about medium-low, so you're not burning any of the sauce and the cream. Okay, so I'm gonna let that cook for about a minute. You guys, this is gonna be so good. I'm so excited to eat this. Of course, it's not Valentine's Day yet, but it will be, so I'm celebrating early. Why not? Okay, now that the brandy has cooked down a little bit, let some of that alcohol vapors cook off, we are gonna put in some of the Dijon mustard, about a tablespoon. I'm using grainy because I like the grain, but you could use the creamy Dijon too. You're gonna also pour in the cream. Look at that, you guys. Again, just keep this on sort of a medium-low heat. So it's kind of all stirred together. Look at this, you guys. There's garlic and shallots, cream. And you know what? There's a little Worcestershire sauce. We're gonna put that in there too. Might as well. Give it a little more flavor. And I'm gonna just to kind of stir together, keep it warm. And another thing that I am adding is some veal demi-glace. It's about 1/4 of a cup. It's like a veal stock, but it's concentrated. You could also use a beef broth. I'm just using a 1/4 cup because it's very concentrated. And it's really good. It just gives it a nice rich flavor to the sauce. I'm gonna let that stir in. Going. And you know what? I'm gonna pop another knob of butter in there. Like I said, French cooking, you can never have enough butter or cream. And that's what people loved in the 70s, was French continental fancy food. So that's what we're doing today. So we're gonna let this cook down, let the rest of that butter swirl in with the cream. And the mushrooms, you guys, this smells so good. I cannot wait to eat this. Oh my gosh. So good. We're just gonna let that simmer a little bit, and then we're gonna put the steaks back in, let them cook for about a minute or so, and then it's ready. And we are ready for our Valentine's Day dinner. Stay tuned for that. Let's get these steaks back in here. And also, any of the juices from the plate is just divine. Just pour all of that in there. Nestle those in, turn them a little bit. You guys. Oh my gosh. I can't even. So good. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this down, let it simmer for about a minute, and then take it off the heat because you don't want those steaks to overcook. So get ready, Valentine's Day dinner is coming up, yay. Okay guys, the time is here. And just like that, our 1972 style Valentine's Day dinner comes together. Steak Diane, dramatic, rich, and delicious. Green Goddess salad, creamy, cool, crisp, complementing the Steak Diane perfectly. And our Green Goddess dressing, of course. And our gorgeous strawberries that just came out of the fridge that are gonna pair with our champagne for dessert. And we're gonna make a meal out of it. So just remember, 1972 was a time when romance lingered, soul jams were playing on the radio, people took the time to have an indoor romantic dinner together. It was intentional, it was romantic, it was slow, nothing like today. So I'm gonna actually play a little bit of this and have an early Valentine's Day myself. So let's dig in. Steak Diane, you guys, this is so delicious. Look at this beautiful steak, and this is cute. It looks like the shape of a heart. How awesome is that? So again, we have the gorgeous cognac, creamy mushroom brandy sauce. I'm gonna spoon a little bit more on top. I also topped it with some fresh chives and parsley to give a little green. This is so good, you guys. Look at that sauce. Oh my gosh, yum. So now I'm gonna dig into some green goddess salad. Like I mentioned, iceberg was all the rage back then, and they kept it really cold, really crisp. I just garnished the plate with some cucumbers, a little basil, chives, and some hard-boiled eggs. Keeps it really just simple and beautiful. And you guys, this crispy, gorgeous lettuce is gonna go perfect with this creamy green goddess dressing. So here's the dressing. Look at how beautiful. I'm just gonna drizzle a little on top. It's kind of thick, so it doesn't drizzle too well, but it's gonna be absolutely delicious and creamy and herby and oh my gosh. And then after this, we're gonna do dessert, but I'm gonna plate it now because why not? Can't hurt to have a little dessert alongside your beautiful 1972 continental, dreamy, romantic dinner. And here comes the best part, guys, the champagne. Ready? See if I can do this without killing the camera. Yay! This is the best part. Cheers! So I just want to thank you guys for tuning in to Groovy Eats. This is truly a retro show with gorgeous retro music, retro recipes, and hopefully inspired some memories of your own. I'd love to hear in the comments any song or meal or dish from your childhood or your past that brings back a great memory as well. And I'd love to hear what you're making for Valentine's Day. I hope you make this dinner because it's going to be absolutely delicious. Until next time, keep it groovy. Groovy Eats. Cheers.